So we have all sorts of fun and games that we're going to be having for you today. I'm going to invite Nikki Lucier to come up here. She has been working so tirelessly to put this event together. So first of all, big hand for Nikki. Yes, love it. Wow, we sound like we have like a full house here.
Good job, good job.
Yeah. Oh my God. And Peter Cameron Inglis is here from Mastermind Studios. They just moved to their new location over on the North Shore. So yeah, so he's filming this. You got your new podcast. What's it called, Peter? The whole podcast is called Storm Crisis? Crisis Storm. Storm Crisis, Crisis Storm. At least I have the two words right. So a big hand for Peter Cameron Inglis for all the great work that he does as well. So Nikki, I will let you have a seat. You've got your microphone. All right. So yeah, and I'm really excited to learn myself because I really don't know much about what Paws Food Bank Foundation does. And I know that there's a lot of organizations in Kamloops that are geared towards pets, which I love. But first, Nikki, just maybe give an introduction to yourself and about how this event transpired today and some opening thoughts before we get going.
For sure. Can you hear me?
No.
And can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tara. First of all, I just really want to pause. It's just been a crazy, crazy morning, and I just want to pause and really thank everyone who came together to make this happen. It was one of those things that started out as a small idea, and it just kind of grew and grew and got bigger and bigger because there was so much interest and willingness. And it was a sign that we just all were ready to come together and talk about some of these things that are on our agenda today. So I'll just back up a bit. Paws has been around since 2016. Many people remember it in 2017 when there was some very large-scale evacuations into Kamloops, and particularly a lot of animals. And so Paws kind of rose to the cause, and many of you will remember what transpired down in the park with a lot of animals there. Once that really large scale crisis was over, everyone was faced with just kind of that quieter ongoing crisis that's happening for many people. And so the need was still there. And so Paws, I would say, since 2016 has kind of changed in focus a number of times, just depending on what the need is there. We've tried really hard to not double up with anybody. So that's one of the things that we've learned is each cause has a mandate, and you can really burn yourself out fast if you go too far outside of your mandate. And it's real easy to do because you want to say yes. So someone comes to you and they need some help, and you want to say yes. And if before you know it, if you're outside of your scope, you're just running yourselves into the ground and you're overlapping with what other people are doing, and it's really inefficient, inefficient for time and also for donations. And so what we've tried really hard to do is partner and be clear about each other's mandate. And that's one of the things I think most proud of, and what we'll kind of see unfold as the day goes on and we hear from some of our partner organizations. There are so many people across BC, like within Kamloops, but also across BC, across Canada. And we all have this, passion, this burning desire to help animals and their people. And we can only do it together. So that's really what we're here today, is to talk about our different parts.
That is awesome. Can you guys hear Nikki okay back there in the sound? Is it all good? Just want to make sure. Excellent. I'm seeing thumbs up. That's awesome. Oh, hi, Bernadette. Oh, Bernadette's dog, is it Jack? Yeah. Jack and Macy. Jack and Macy, are you guys a couple? We are. Oh my gosh. And actually, it's funny, Nikki just brought up about those fires, and I think that was the first time we experienced seeing all of those dogs and cats, and we saw them, being in the cages and being looked after down at the park, and all of our hearts. And I remember I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was people, just like so many people heading down there to take them for walks and just to do everything that they could. And that was just so moving, but we'd never experienced something like that before. That was just unbelievable. So when it comes to 4 Pawds, yeah, it was so great. I just thought Kamloops always steps up, especially when it's animals, right? So if I know absolutely zero about 4 Paws, if I was to say to you, okay, what on earth, what does 4 Paws Foundation do, Nikki? Yeah, just fill me in a little bit about that.
Yeah, so right now, what we actually do, depending on the ebb and flow of our number of volunteers, we always shrink back to our core service, which is our food bank. So that's kind of the baseline need, right? Food and dishes. And so we have a weekly food bank that is anyone who needs food can get some. We have a registration process, but if anyone needs it, we'll get it to them.
Nice.
And a second service that we have, depending on our ability with foster homes, is we'll provide emergency fostering. This is a challenge that's common to all of our partners. It's hard finding fosters. It's hard finding pet inclusive housing, which also makes it hard for people to say yes to fostering. And so that's certainly one of our limitations. Anyone who wants to foster and has a pet inclusive home, this is just a shout out, not just for us, but for Sammy's, for ElderDog, for every animal welfare organization. We all need fosters.
Okay.
And then our third service is veterinary care. And so this of course is the financially largest part of our service. So it requires donations. We have incredible partnerships with the veterinary clinics today. We're going to hear from 3 of them at the end of today, which is amazing. 3 of them took time out of this beautiful day. And so, as we went along, particularly on our board of directors, we just kept discussing like how far does this go on with the need for food increasing? And we just, kind of keep this focus on food, and it keeps increasing and more clients. And what we're witnessing is a overpopulation challenge. And so food isn't the only issue then. We have to start looking at what more can we do so that the need isn't just, continually exponentially going up. And so last year, 2023, we were able to support 10 spays and neuters. And we decided this year we just needed to do a whole lot more than that. So we just times it by 10 and said, let's go for 100.
Wow.
Wow.
100. So that's quite a lofty goal. And so how do you plan to see that through 100? Where are we at now? Starting when?
So we've already started, and we have completed 15 spays and neuters already this calendar year. We have another clinic lined up for April 2nd. So we have close to another 15 going ahead, and another at the end of April, and we'll just keep going. So we really hope that today can be a kickoff, kind of a call to action, because we see it as a community concern. It's not just, the pet guardian's concern or the welfare organization's concern. There are so many factors that make it a community concern, and our veterinarians are going to speak to some of the physical challenges that come of that, but also I think we all witness, a lot of animals, the challenges of animals overrunning and property damage and, all those sorts of things. But more than anything, it's the animals' welfare that we're concerned about. We'll hear about that from Sammy's as well today.
Great. And I really like this setup. I was saying that I've never done an event like this. Usually you're standing at a podium and you're speaking, but this whole sort of talk show idea is really cool. And I know it's the first one you've ever done. So if this is something you could keep doing, we could probably increase numbers and sort of get people, because everything starts out small and as you grow. But I just think this is a really unique way to set this up. Like, how did this event even happen? I've never seen something like this. Like, how did this event come together?
So this was actually Roseanne had the idea, well, let's have our fundraiser in Paramount because we can use the lobby. So we had all this beautiful artwork and these items to auction off. So Roseanne secured the Paramount for our fundraising, and then you kind of have to use the theater, right?
Yeah.
So then we thought we would do a film, and the film, there's fairly large prices attached to licensing and everything. So we decided instead of that, let's just talk together. And everyone I started talking to, like, what do you think about this? They just said yes. And so before we knew it, we had our afternoon filled. And of course, we're already thinking about, next, what's next.
Awesome. Well, just before we wrap up with you, Nikki, then speaking of next, after this and after we've, educated everyone and informed them, what do you hope to see after this happens?
I would really love to see, I guess kind of the big dream is to start seeing some, I don't know, like work teams coming up with fundraiser to sponsor a spay or sponsor a neuter or something like that, and really get some community participation so that we can keep going. Like 100 is awesome, but I think, Sammy's and many other organizations will tell you that that's a drop in the bucket. So we want to keep going. We want more than 100.
Wow. Nikki Lucier, everybody, the chair of the Paws Foundation. You guys do such amazing work. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. And we will be bringing Nikki back again a little later on for our grand finale. Thank you so much, Nikki. Next segment we have is called Fun with Dogs. I love that. So I'd like to welcome up to the stage Ashley, Amy, and Quincey. So come on up, you guys. All right, you can grab a mic there. All right. So what I'll do is, I guess you've got a mic there and you guys can pass it along. I'm going to get, first of all, I know I've announced you're Ashley, Amy, and Quincey, but I'll get you to introduce your full name, your organization you are with, and a little bit about yourself. So we can start there.
Cool. Hi, I'm Ashley. I own and operate Urban Tales Adventures here in Kamloops. It says it's on. Hang on here. Hello? Let's do that better? Here, let me switch. Try this to this.
Check. Can you guys hear me on this mic?
Okay. Is my voice just not loud?
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Perfect.
So I'm Ashley. I own and operate Kamloops Urban Tales Adventures. We were the first and longest running adventure dog company in Kamloops. So I take groups of off-leash dogs on adventures out in the forest. We have ample opportunity for them to just be dogs. The motto is where dogs get to be dogs. So that's basically in a nutshell what I do.
All right, and next, awesome. And just keep your guys' mouth really close to the microphone, like it's really uncomfortable to do. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Hi, so I'm Amy Atkinson. I own and operate Northern Noses. I am a multi-certified dog trainer, as well as a fear-free certified dog groomer. And I focus on introducing fear-free grooming techniques to dogs and their owners, just to try to make the grooming experience better for everyone involved, because it's something a lot of dogs are not super fans of.
There's some really funny on Instagram, watching the dogs howl when they're getting, you got to admit, it's funny.
Yeah, so I just focus on making the grooming experience better.
Yeah. All right, next.
Hi, I'm Quincy Ross. I own and operate Canine Connection Dog Training. I am a positive reinforcement based accredited dog trainer. I am also a fear-free certified dog trainer. I host group classes, private lessons, private training, day training, group walks, you name it. I probably do it. And I have with me today my 9.5-year-old Australian Shepherd, Osa, who's going to show you guys some fun stuff.
Welcome, Osa. That's awesome. All right, so the next question that you guys can pass the mic along as well. I mean, the three of you guys are obviously, there's similarities in a lot of what you do, but if you could just maybe touch on something specific that you absolutely love about what it is that you do. What's so rewarding?
Absolutely. So my most rewarding part about my job is letting dogs be dogs. We have such a weird state in our society where we try to make dogs fit into like this robot kind of mold that we give them. And so my adventures are really letting them let loose, do things that they want to do, dig, roll in things. We're letting them be dogs. And that is one of the most rewarding things, is letting those dogs have those moments where they get to do things they don't normally get to do.
I love that.
So for me, one of the things that I absolutely love is when I'm working with the dog and I start to gain their trust, because they know that I'm going to listen to their body language, meaning that I can take a dog who may start by saying no, by snapping or growling, and by focusing on their body language, then it can get to a point where they don't need to do those more aggressive behaviors to get me to stop. They can, give me a little look, or I can read their tail or their ears. And then by respecting their no and stopping when they start to get overwhelmed, they actually start opting in more.
Oh, wow.
And then you can actually take a dog that you couldn't groom before, and you can get to the point where you can get them through the process more positively. And I love seeing that.
I bet.
Yeah.
Right.
And wrap it up. My favorite part about my job is watching how I can help teach the humans to benefit and increase the bond they have with their dog. So I am a dog trainer. However, I'm actually a person trainer.
Oh, you'll have to do a lot of work with me then. I just know you would be like, oh my God, yeah, you've got the problem. So the thing is, I mean, we know when we get pets, they make our lives so much better. Like, that's what we get these pets for, is we just love having them and they make our lives so great. But is there something that we can do to make their lives a lot better, like in your eyes?
So for me, the number one thing that I believe people can do for their dogs is what's called environmental enrichment. So that is seeing what your dog really enjoys doing outside and letting them do those behaviors. So things that people sometimes struggle with at home, like digging in the yard,
Yes.
we can actually alleviate those things by giving our dogs the opportunities to do those on their own. So by using your walks, things like
Yes.
putting them on a long line, so giving them a nice long line that they can walk on and not being so tight to our sides, letting them explore their environment. Dogs see the world through their nose. So getting the opportunity to sniff is one of the most beneficial things that you can do for your dog, and it will increase your bond as well, because they will see that you are giving them the choice to do those natural behaviors instead of trying to keep them on those.
I love that. I had a dachshund who they are diggers.
Oh, yes.
And so they could do a lot of damage in the yard, but taking them down to the beach with the sand,
Yes.
dig forever in the sand and there's no
Yes,
damage. So
Exactly. Give them that opportunity,
Yeah.
and then they won't be doing the bad behavior at home because they've had that outlet already.
perfect. Thank you. All right.
So mine's, I guess, similar to Ashley's. I use a lot of the dog's natural behaviors in my salon to help them decompress. Sniffing is a huge one, and so is destruction. So giving them an opportunity to, I call it the Rippy Terry Shreddy, and giving them things like cardboard, old newspapers, toys, all this stuff, and just kind of letting them go to town. It's such a natural thing for them, and it's such a decompression.
Love it.
So if I'm working with a dog and they're getting a little bit nervous, and I can take a paper towel roll, throw some treats in there, crimp the sides, and the dogs get it, and they get to tear,
Cup to your mouth.
sorry,
That's okay.
they get to tear it open, and then the treats kind of scatter, and then they get to use their nose to find those treats. Their stress levels then decrease, and we can typically then carry on with the groom. So getting to kind of know what it is that sort of helps your dog just lower their heart rate and decompress, or those natural behaviors, it just helps so much in so many different environments.
Great. Good stuff.
So all too often today, our dogs do not get enough I think what we all three would say is we need to give our dogs more dog things. We need to give our dogs the opportunity to use their brains, to be a dog. But also, I like to encourage us to get our dogs to use their brains to build their relationship with us, which makes life a little bit easier with your dog. So one of the things that I like to do with my dog to help strengthen my bond, while also giving my dog something to do and something to think about, I like to teach tricks. Osa is my trick dog. My logo is my previous dog from many moons ago when I was a first-time dog owner. And the thing that opened up my dog's relationship with me was trick training. I was you guys. I had no idea what I was doing. And it wasn't until I did something that I was having fun with my dog that my dog started having fun with me. And it made our life a whole lot different. So trick training is one of our favorite things to do now. I'm a certified trick trainer now. Osa is an expert trick dog. And it's something super easy that you can do in your house. You don't need anything fancy to do tricks. That can build your relationship and also give your dog something to think about and be able to use their brain.
Wow. Well, that'll be great. I look forward to seeing some of these tricks. We're going to have Quincey show us some tricks with Osa in just a sec, but I'm going to ask you, while I have you guys are so smart, I have to ask you this because I've had people tell me that what I was doing was so bad with my pets. So tell me this, I have a really bad habit. Maybe it's a good habit, but I cannot help myself. I talk so much baby talk. Like when I see a dog or an animal, even a flipping cow, I'll be like, aren't you the cutest cow I ever did see? Like I just want to smooch and tell me something because I've been told that that baby talk creates a really bad behavior. Is that true?
So one saying that I know the three of us absolutely love is if it is not a problem for you, it is not a problem, period. So it doesn't matter what it is. There is no one set of things that every dog needs to do or every dog guardian needs to do. So is it causing any issues in your...
No, it's not, Osa. Osa, it's not causing me any problems at all. No.
You don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem, everybody. You heard it here. I have no problem. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So Quincey, we're going to get you to stay here and we're going to, you're going to do some tricks with Osa, then you're going to introduce a film, I understand. That's what we're doing next. Also, big hand for our stage hands who are going to be moving things and moving things. So,
I think so.
Yeah, you got it. The tricks. And then we'll go from there. I'll move this along and we'll see what Osa's got going on. And then we'll get Quincey to introduce our film.
Alrighty, guys. So Osa is my expert trick dog. We like to have lots of fun doing tricks. There's a couple really, really easy tricks you can teach your dog to do at home with your dog's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So one of the first things that I like to teach dogs to do is how to do what's called a hand target. Hand target is simply my dog booping their hand or their nose into my hand. Yes. This is a really fun game to do with you because guess what? Your hand is attached to your body. So this is a relationship building game with you and your dog. All you're gonna do is you're gonna have cookies in one hand and a flat hand in the other. You're gonna get some excitement out of your dog and your flat hand is just gonna pop open. Your dog's just gonna check it out. They don't know what they're doing. However, every time their nose comes and boops, yes, the empty hand magic appears. Really, really quickly, ready? Your dog is going to seek out, go get it, your empty hand. And I now have a dog that wants to come and engage with me. So they're using their brain and we're building our relationship together. Your hand target can grow and you can create what's called a hand follow. So I can get my dog to follow me and I can also get her to do other fun tricks simply by following, yes, my hand.
So it's a stepping stone in training. It's got so many useful behaviors. It also is a wonderful way to move your dog into a specific behavior or position if they need to do so, maybe at the groomers or the vets, instead of me having to physically manipulate my dog. So that's one of my favorite tricks. That's also a useful behavior to teach. Second up, I really like to teach my dog how to spin in circles. Some may say that's good, some may say that's bad, but it's a really great thing to practice. Having my dog turn around. I use this on my walks sometimes when I'm trying to pass a distraction, or I just want some quick, easy, pay attention to me games. Okay, so we're gonna teach our dogs, can go left, 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 how to spin in a circle. If you get really good, you can teach them how to go both ways. Right, 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 right. Yes. So I like to teach this one with a lure. What is a lure, you say? My dog following a piece of food. That is a lure. Your goal when you're teaching your dog how to spin is to get rid of the lure as fast as you can. So I like to have a lure, and I like to have a handful of my dog's kibble in the other hand. I'm going to start with my dog in front of me. I'm going to pull them towards me so they're standing up. And when they stand up, I'm going to take my hand out to the side, and it's going to come back straight in the middle, keeping it at about your dog's head height. So not too high, not too low. You're going to keep it pretty much parallel. You're going to take your dog out. You're going to bring them back in the middle. I like to say yes or good dog, whatever you like to tell them when they did something right. And then I'm actually going to feed my dog with the other hand. This is really, really easy to do a couple times in a row. And then when they're following this lure really quick, they're not really paying attention anymore. No lure, you're gonna get rid of it. Good job. Show them that hand was empty. Feed them with the other hand. As soon as you can get your dog to spin in a circle with no cookie every single time, you can call it something. Until then, don't call it anything. They're not listening. They're following the food. So once you have empty hand, you're going to say your word first, whatever you want to call it. Spin, twist, flip, flop. Osa's is left and right because she's extra smart. You're going to say your word first. So you'd say spin. Then you're going to use that empty hand. Good job. And you're going to feed with your other hand. Eventually, as you repeat that, your dog's a lot smarter than you give them credit for. They're going to predict your behavior. So when I say spin, and then show her, one of these times, you spin, she is going to do it on her own. Ready? And you spin. She's thinking about it. Osa's a lot smarter than I give her credit for. Ready? Spin. You're going to repeat it over and over again. If you guys can see, I don't know if you can see her face, but her eyes are thinking. Spin. Nice. Good girl. One of these times when you say that word to her and you give her a couple seconds to think about it, she's going to go, oh, I know. Ready? And she's going to do it on her own. So Osa's word is left. Nice! Good girl! Super! So, a couple super fun tricks you can teach at home. There's lots more that you can teach your dogs, but it's a really wonderful way to give your dog something to think about while having fun, building a relationship, and that's what it's all about. So, next up, we're going to watch a short film. It is all about how dogs see with their noses. Ready?
Oh, wow, that was so interesting. Very, very great. So we'll get the chairs back and so you guys like that? I learned so much. I never even knew that. That was incredible. Wow. Next up we have Sammy's Forgotten Felines about community cats. So we're going to invite Jenn and Julie, our Jen and Julie here. We're gonna get you guys, here they are right up front. We're gonna get them up here and we're gonna learn a little bit about Sammy's forgotten feline. So welcome them to the stage. You guys can grab that microphone there. You gotta keep it really close to your mouth. Here.
Oh, sure.
All right, you guys. Oh yeah, pass it over. You're not getting out of this without, yeah, it's gonna come back to you. So I'll just, same thing as you guys saw before, I'll get you to do an introduction of yourself, your full name, and a little bit about where you're from and how long you've been with Sammy's Forgotten Felines.
Okay, hello? Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so my name is Jenn Breckenridge. Started with the SPCA a million years ago, and that kind of turned into an accidental rescue because we realized that ferals don't get rescued very often. So we thought we'd like to change that. So yeah, that started in 2019 and it turned into a thing.
Nice, nice.
I am Julie Ondang. I'm one of the directors of Sammy's. We started at the same time, so about 2019. My house is basically the foster hub, so it's kind of deemed the land of poop. There's a few cats there. And yeah, Jen and I and Val, another gal that started Sammy's with us, we all started it together, just knowing that ferals just are not getting the respect that they deserve.
And so is that kind of how Sammy's Forgotten Felines got started then? That's how it started? What really is the mission of the organization?
So we really want to, a lot of rescues do trap, neuter, and return. And that's okay, as long as you have a guardian who is there and responsible and reliable to take care of these cats, because these cats should get everything that our house cats get. They need vet care, they need proper shelter, they need food, they need water, they need attention. So that's why we kind of decided that, you know, Kamloops has an incredible amount of feral colonies that you don't see. These cats don't want you to see them.
So where are we talking about?
That's a great question. Literally everywhere.
Really?
There are colonies in Valley View. There's several on the North Shore. There are random cats literally everywhere. It's just not many people notice them until it becomes a problem. So one of the colonies we've been working on was about 150 to 200 cats. We have removed and rehomed or found sanctuary, or we still have some cats in care. We have about 104 so far. And we think there's somewhere between 30 and 40 left. We have done some TNR just to curb the numbers, because the problem is if you don't get a handle on the population, it just explodes. So that's most of the battle. Spaying and neutering is huge, huge, huge. And then the question becomes, how do you give them a better life long term?
Wow, I am absolutely shocked. That is unbelievable. So obviously what you do would be really rewarding. I'm sure there's really rewarding parts to the job, but what are some of the heartache kind of things that you have to deal with? Why do you keep passing the mic? What's that?
Because she's got to tell you
Okay.
about Barla.
Oh, right, okay, for sure.
Okay, so once upon a time, there, I was working with this colony. This was in 2010, I believe it was, and I took.
What? Back up. You've been doing this since then?
Oh, we've been doing this since 1997.
Wow, okay.
So not with Sammy's though, but in
Right, okay.
various other rescues.
So you know what you're doing, all right?
We've been doing this a
Wow.
long, long time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this particular colony, there was a cat that I took a picture of, and he was a beautiful, beautiful big tomcat. Like he had the big cheeks and he was just beautiful. 5 years later, he was part of a TNR. And I believe the Humane Society was monitoring this colony at the time. And 5 years later, he came into shelter because he was so sick. And he ended up having entropia, and he had to have eye surgery. He lost both of his ears from frostbite. He was just a hot mess. And it turned out he was the friendliest, snuggliest cat who suffered needlessly for 5 years before anyone bothered to take notice that he wasn't even actually feral. So that's what we want to change. Like, people need to pay attention and give the cats time to get a proper assessment whether they are in fact feral or not.
Wow. So what was the rest of the story for that particular kitty?
Well, he got his surgery and he got adopted and he is a big smush cat now. Like,
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that because, I don't know what it is, but you want it to have a happy ending for sure. So in this organization, the things you see on a daily basis, what keeps you going? What keeps you rewarded enough to see the change that wants you to keep going?
I guess one of the things would be when you have this cat that you bring in that wants to kill you. Like, he really, they come in feral and they are not happy with you. And we had one in particular, Donkey, because
Pardon me, donkey.
his name was Donkey because he was
Stubborn.
and our volunteers were terrified of him, like absolutely terrified. So I was the one that always got stuck cleaning his kennel. Because
What did you wear? Like, were you like in the hazmat suit? What?
no, you just move very carefully. We got it done, but surprisingly, we got Donkey off to the vet to get neutered, and his teeth were all rotten. Every single tooth was rotten. He had hematomas in his ears because he had ear mites so bad. He was another hot mess. Got him to the vet, got all his teeth removed, got his ears fixed up, and he turned into a sucky baby.
Oh my God.
And I actually even used him to help me socialize the other feral cats.
No way.
I could open up the kennel doors and he would go in and they would come out and see him. And they'd
Wow.
rub against each other. And he was in pain.
So you obviously, by going through something like this, you can see there is hope, no matter how bad it
Definitely,
seems.
most definitely. And
Wow.
most rescues think that kittens under the age of 4 months are the only ones that can be socialized. And we're finding out that that's not necessarily the case.
Wow. Well, with this opportunity, with the crowd that we have, and obviously with Peter filming us and other people seeing this, I'm already learning. I didn't know anything about this. What can the community do to help? Like, what would you need from us? And you got an answer. She's like, thanks for asking that. Yeah, what is it that we can do?
well, the biggest thing, first and foremost, is take responsibility for your pets. Get them spayed and neutered for the love of God.
Please.
It's a simple solution. I mean, really, please, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. The other thing too is take notice, you can help the feral cats. It doesn't have to go to a rescue. You can be us. You can take them in, you can feed them, you can work with them, you can get them spayed and neutered. If you don't have the money, reach out to a rescue. Maybe they can help you, and help you along the way with, integrating them into your house if that's the goal, they don't all have to go to shelters. And if everyone does their part, it's a smaller problem
Wow.
because there's a lot more solutions out there.
And we need fosters.
And we need fosters and money.
Just like he said, money, resources.
Fosters and money. So
Now I'm getting ready to talk now.
Okay, now here we go. All right.
Last year, Sammy spent almost $60,000 in vet bills.
$60,000.
$60,000.
Oh my
And
gosh.
part of that is because we don't just spay and neuter. We do the things like dentals. We do surgeries where cats have terrible broken legs.
Wow.
And we get them cleaned up and fixed because they deserve it, just like my house cat, Jen's house cat, anybody's house cat deserves.
Yes. Yeah. You guys are doing absolutely incredible work. So congratulations on everything you do. Are there any kind of last words? Because I've learned a lot. I'm sure you guys have too about Sammy's Forgotten Felines.
Well, I don't know, last words. I think I've said mostly all the things, but I think, really, you just give the animals a chance, you know,
Yes.
let them show you their personality and that they're worth giving a crap about.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of,
And how many people are with the organization?
Oh gosh.
You guys have lots of
Probably 50,
oh, that
including
many
volunteers.
volunteers and
yeah,
people.
volunteers, fosters.
Boots on the ground, like you
Yeah.
guys are. So what would a day like? What would you guys do in a regular work day?
Well, on a regular work day, it's bouncing schedules between working for a living.
Yes.
We all work full time, so.
Wow.
We don't get paid for any Sammy stuff. So it's usually a lot of time spent on the phone trying to organize time, like, okay, we can go to this colony, or we can trap here, or we can this, or this cat needs to come in, or we need to book an appointment for X. The days really, some days are insane, other days are not as bad, but it's really just a lot of scheduling. You know, trying to figure out like, okay, who's available for this? Who can go to there? You know, how are we going to deal with this one cat? Or, oh, somebody called and there's a colony and there's 30 cats that need to come in and they're in big trouble. Or so it's a lot of juggling and a lot of working together and reaching out to other organizations for support. And also ideas. We're always open to how can we do this better? Does anyone have any ideas? We always need more space. You know, what's best for the cats? Because in Sammy's, it's the cats that decide when they're ready to be adopted or when they're ready to move on to their next adventure. It's not up to us. It's when they're
Wow.
ready.
Well, you guys are very inspiring. This has been very eye-opening. So thank you for all the work that Sammy's Forgotten Felines does. Let's hear it for Jenn and Julie. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. All right. So we are getting close where I'm going to be introducing a film to you guys now. And this film is going to be about 23, 25 minutes. All right, folks, thanks for hanging around with us as we continue with this first, which might be an annual event, Mission Pawsible. Next, I'm going to introduce to you a very familiar face from town, Jacquie Brand. You can make your way up from the YMCA Women's Shelter. Hello, Jacquie. Give her a warm welcome to the stage. We're going to be talking about the importance and some of the challenges of operating a pet-inclusive shelter.
It does feel like there's like a lot more people. You guys shout loud.
I know, it does. You can grab your mic there and you got to keep it nice and close to your... You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jacquie, you can introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do and how long you've been doing it.
All right. So I am the general manager of Violence Against Women Intervention and Support Services, which is through the YMCA BC, and we have outreach services, Peace Program, which is our child and youth services, and then of course the Y Women Shelter, and we provide support to women, children, and pets who are fleeing violence in the home.
Oh my God.
And I've been doing this for, I just had my 21st anniversary.
21 years. Oh my gosh, I know, I'm just like, even just knowing what you do just makes me go, wow, because thank goodness we have people like you who are involved in such important organizations and causes like that. Now, what compelled you to want to be part of this and educate everybody today?
Well, Nikki asked me and
Yeah.
told me I had to. No, she didn't at all. She was mentioning the fires years ago. After the fires, we had a connection with Paws, and we had some representatives come to the shelter and realized that, they said, they wanted to concentrate on a specific scope and a specific group of people. And we have the women and children who stay with us are homeless technically, right? So they wanted to make it easier for the women and children that stayed with us to bring their pets. So it started out that they offered to foster the pets because at that time we weren't pet friendly. We weren't set up at all to have any kind of animals in the house. We call it the transition to the house. But I mean, through the years, we have snuck a couple cats and dogs and maybe other animals into the house before we were officially a pet inclusive environment. But so they started out by offering their space, their fosters for us. And so I think the very first one was a cat. And the cat ended up being with the fosters for about 2 months. So it's really important for the families to be able to bring their pets because I looked up a couple of the stats from the Canadian Women's Foundation, just recent ones, 2021. They said that 56% of women don't leave a violent situation because they're worried about their animals.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Or they either, and that delayed response, of course, increases safety and like the whole family.
I never even think of this. Like whenever I hear about it, obviously I know that you guys take when people flee from violence or they're in a serious situation, they have somewhere to go. But this is the first time when I was looking over the script that I got, it's the first time I actually thought about what about animals? Like with the fact that some people need those animals to go with them because they're obviously support and they love them so much. And they're in such a volatile situation as it is. This is the last thing they want to do. And to imagine leaving that comfort, leaving that, source of, love behind. But when you say it wasn't pet inclusive before, how did that change?
It was actually through Paws. So they enabled us to realize that we could actually support families bringing their animals in. Because it went beyond foster. They bring what was it last week? You brought a litter pan. Today, you don't know, but after we finish this, I'm asking about foster home for a dog for 5 days. But anyway, that's after. But
I'll ask you about that later.
So they bring cat litter and treats and dog food and harnesses and leashes, poop bags. Got us a whole bunch of poop bags, and we had a number of dogs in the house. But it also was through BC Housing. That's one of our funders. We're a special program within that ministry. They started to recognize that it was the importance of people bringing their pets to the shelter to stay, or at least having a relationship in the community with somebody who could care for the pets, knowing that the kiddos and the women weren't going to seek safety if they had to leave their animals. Because I mean, you hit it right on the button when you said like that comfort and that emotional support, but also we know that the people who abuse the women and the kids and perpetrate violence, that they will use pets as a tactic for control and of course maneuvers or things. So, and there's a direct correlation between harming animals and harming women and children. So they're recognizing that.
Heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. But we have people like Paws who will help us out. We have a pet inclusive house, or pet friendly house is how we say it. So we've had dogs, cats, ferrets, birds, fish. Loretta is in the audience, who used to work for us, talked about a time that we had not just rats, but as she was interviewing a woman to see if she was appropriate for the house, her jacket was moving. And that's how many rats she had.
She had what?
Rats.
Oh, wow.
Rats, pet rats in her jacket.
In her jacket.
Yeah. But wanting to keep them safe, wanting to keep them warm, wanting to keep them with her. So that's what we do.
So obviously there's the positive aspect of this, people having the pet with them. Is there any challenges that are presented with this as well?
A lot of challenges. It took, we're still developing policy as we go along. We're learning so much with every pet and with every family because it's different. We have definite guidelines and rules and regulations, like no pets are allowed in common areas. There's a certain way you take your dog in and out of the house to go to the bathroom. We make sure that the litter is changed for the cats on a daily basis. That if people are staying, like some women are there without their children, but they're there with their animals, they usually get their own rooms unless there's a roommate that is really comfortable with that situation. Allergies was a big thing that a lot of people had said, what about allergies? But we've taken out all the carpets in our house. We have specialized cleaning equipment specifically for animals. And we just think a woman's safety and child safety and pet safety is more important than somebody's allergies. So we can deal with that on another basis, but we can't have this be a barrier for someone seeking safety.
So you guys have gone above and beyond to make sure that this is possible, to let these families know that this is there for them then.
Absolutely.
Wow. So what is it that, people in the community, like this is the first I've actually even thought about this with the animals. So, thinking that, and it even just hurts my heart to think about people, humans that are in the situation that have to flee, and then the animals as well. And just to be in a predicament like that would just be so arduous to have to deal with it. What can we learn from this, and what can we do as a community to help a situation like this?
Support Four Paws.
Yeah.
Supporting Four Paws, especially with fosters and food and all the things that we would use indirectly is super helpful. And just, and let women and families know that they can make arrangements to bring their pets. And so, and we do try to say, do you have friends or family, first and foremost, that can take care of them? But we know a lot of times that's just not possible. So then we figure out how to get them. We've had a lot of animals over the year, and I wish I would have counted how many we've had just in this last year. And before it was very sparse and few between.
And see, that even blows my mind when you say that, because that makes me think, what, is there that many people that need safety?
A lot of people need safety. Yeah, we have calls every single day and we're always full at the shelter.
Oh, you see, this is so eye-opening. I mean, this is something that people need to know, because I did not know that the need was that huge.
Well, and I mean, it's good that we're here.
Yes.
For people who need that support. And our big running joke is that we would love to work ourselves out of a job. Like,
Right.
imagine if there wasn't violence in homes and we didn't have to do this, but unfortunately, that's the reality right now. But we're talking about years ago, we wouldn't talk about the violence so openly. In fact, I probably wouldn't have even used the word violent in a presentation like this, but I think it's really important to name it what it is, and for how the seriousness of it, and that there's so many different aspects of support that need the community's support again. Just to be able to continue to be able to help everybody and all the aspects, and basically rid of any barriers that are going to prevent them from seeking safety. And this is one of them. It's a big one.
And so, you know, when Nikki's talking about Four Paws, and when I was asking earlier what Four Paws does, and they work with different partners and organizations, this is an example of one of the ones that, you know, you benefit through with Four Paws.
Oh, absolutely. We literally wouldn't be able to be pet inclusive or friendly without Four Paws, because we make a call and they come as soon as they can.
Oh, that is really inspiring, and it's sad and joyful at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure you see things that are heartbreaking, but at the same time, when you see these people that have to flee and they bring their pets, that at the same time, it's a joy to see that they've got that love and support.
Absolutely. And you see such a difference in the families, like that they didn't think about a kid who has to leave their toy behind. You can imagine leaving their cat that they love behind. It would be so much harder. And then sometimes they get there, like the woman who's currently there got there with her pet, realized there's no way she can navigate what she has to do for herself this week without a little bit more help. So that's why we're hoping someone can foster the pet. So that's our next step. Sometimes that they'll bring them and then realize that it's not quite the right place for them, and someone can usually help.
Wow. So in case there's something else that I haven't asked, or any important message that you want to get out while we have this opportunity, lastly, some last closing comments from you, Jacquie.
Just to thank everyone for their support, for being part of these events that fundraise and also bring awareness to the work that all of us are doing, and to spread the word.
Yeah, which this kind of event, I know it's the first, what I hope is annual, but such an important message that, that I'm learning today. Here I am interviewing everybody, and as I'm going along, I have learned so much from each and every group that has been up here. So Jacquie, thanks for the important work that you guys do at the women's shelter as well, and with the pets. So everybody, Jacquie Brand from the YMCA, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. All right, so good. Thank you so much. All right, next up, I would like to bring up, our segment is going to be ElderDog Kamloops, and we'd like to ask Darlene Snellen, who is, I love this, the Kamloops Pawd leader. I love these play on words, they're just great. So give a warm welcome to Darlene Snellen, who's here. Just text that close to your mouth and we'll make sure that it's working. I don't know if Jacquie turned it off. Let's see if it's working.
Test.
Yeah, you got the hot mic there. All right, so we're going to be talking about what the human bond means in our later life stages. So introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your organization and how long you've been there.
Sure. Hi, I'm Darlene Snellen with ElderDog Canada. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. What we do is we help seniors keep their dogs in their home by helping them with our volunteers to do so completely free of charge.
Wow, that is so nice for the seniors. That's a great service. So what service does ElderDog provide, like, and where do you operate of it?
Yeah, so it originated out in Nova Scotia, but it's made it all the way to coastal BC. And we are actually in BC more pods than anywhere else in Canada, believe it or not. We would do, the question was what services you provide?
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm nervous a little bit.
No worries.
We help with walking dogs when seniors can't because they're just not very mobile and their dogs need exercise. We'll help pick up dog food and deliver it, or help with transportation to and from a veterinary appointment or a grooming appointment, and some minor grooming things like clipping their nails or brushing their fur, or just administering some medication, that kind of thing. Just the easy things, so you know.
Yeah, well, those aren't really easy things. Those are important things. That's impressive. So is there something specific that inspired you to get involved with this organization?
Yeah, well, everyone here has a little bit to thank Nikki for, I think, and me too. I was on Facebook one day and there was a senior asking for financial assistance to help say goodbye to their pet with euthanization. And so I thought it'd be nice to start something, but it never got off the ground. And then she found a posting on Castanet about ElderDog in Kamloops and sent it to me. And so I've been the rehoming coordinator with ElderDog since then, around 3 years ago, and recently, I want to say about a year and a half ago, took on Pawd leader as well for the Kamloops location.
Oh, that's great. Now, so who could qualify for this then? If people are out there thinking, oh my gosh, I know someone and I didn't even know this existed, who could qualify for this service?
Yeah, so if you're a senior citizen, you instantly qualify as if you have a dog. The dog can be of any age, it doesn't matter. There's also just senior dogs that might need some help. So our rules basically, if it has 2 legs or 4 legs and it's considered elderly, it qualifies.
What about 3 legs?
Yes, 3 legs.
I've seen 3 legs. Now, how much are these services with ElderDog?
Again, it's completely free of charge. We don't charge for anything. Even when we're rehoming a dog and it's being adopted, there's no fee for the adoption either.
Oh, wow. So will you guys rescue older dogs as well?
Well, we're not a rescue, but we will help to rehome a dog when, say, a senior has to move facilities to like a facility that doesn't take on animals, or if they've maybe caught some dementia, or if they've passed on and the family can't take on their dogs.
So this one there, I'm just visualizing all these costs. Like, who covers those costs?
Yeah, so we're a registered charity-based organization, so everything we do is completely funded through donations. And we're Canada-wide, and this all gets put through a specific bank, and then it's just distributed as needed. So we're actually kind of a larger organization with those sorts of backup to charity funding.
So much like the previous organizations we're talking about, a lot of this is based on these donations that are so vital, and that's how you continue doing this then. Wow. So what about supplies and even vet care? Absolutely everything?
Yeah, so we try to get donations for some supplies when needed, but where there's need for purchasing something, yes, that comes through the charity, where we would ask for our national to help us cover those costs.
Wow. So where can people sort of find out more information on this? Where can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, we do have a Facebook page, but there is an elderdog.ca website, and there's a lot of information there as well, and a 1-800 number if you have more questions that maybe I can't answer, but I'm always happy to answer anything for you guys here in Kamloops.
And do you sort of keep your eye on, like, you talk about the elder dogs and then the elder people, like, is there ever a dog or a person that just might be too old? Like, do you get concerned about this?
No. So you can be as old as ever. It doesn't matter. The dog could be 20.
Wow.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love that. So we talked a little bit about what the needs are. So what would be your biggest need then from the community?
Actually, what I'm trying to do with this today is just bring on awareness that we're here.
Yeah.
But also the fundraising obviously is important because a lot of our costs are for things like vet appointments, tooth extractions, I believe spay and neuters where necessary, even that kind of thing. And that is very expensive.
So you see a lot of elder dogs, like you talked about, a dog could even be 20. Like, I mean, that dog's not walking much. Like, what's the oldest dog that you've seen in the program?
I personally haven't seen this dog, but I think there was an 18-year-old dog somewhere.
Wow, in the program. That's great. And it must be so rewarding too when you see the seniors who a lot of times they're feeling really isolated, they're feeling really lonely, and nothing can fill that void like an elder dog.
Right, and that's why we're here, because there's, actually, I'm gonna touch on this too, I think, just a little quickly. There are seniors who maybe won't even go to the hospital because they need medical care, but they don't want to leave their dog at home. So we do also provide temporary fostering, absolutely free of charge.
This is an incredible organization, and I think that more people need to know about this. Like, tell us your Facebook page as well. Maybe we can sort of share this out.
Yeah, you can find it just looking at ElderDog Canada Kamloops in the search bar. It'll definitely be there.
All right, let's hear it for Darlene. What a great organization you guys have. That's awesome. And I understand you're going to be producing a film for everybody. Okay, tell us about the film.
Okay. After losing his best friend, an elderly pug named Henry, he has to rely on his owner for help and companionship. This is called Old Dog.
Okay, thank you, Darlene, so much. Let's hear it for Darlene. Thank you. All right, so are you guys having a good time this afternoon? All right. So next I would like to call up Dr. Sarah, Dr. Calli, and Dr. Nicole from the Central Animal Hospital. Come on up. I've got a warm place in my heart for the Central Animal Hospital. That's where my wiener dog, you see I'm wearing, I'm sure you might guess that I'm a Dachshund person. I've got a wiener dog tattooed on my foot. I have to be careful. He wasn't the friendliest. I don't know if you guys remember that, but whenever I took my Dachshund for a walk, I would say, don't touch the wiener. And it always sounded really weird. So, yeah, so have a seat. Welcome to our vets. You can grab a mic and remember you have to keep it close to your mouth and you can pass it along. So what I'll do is much like we did before, you can introduce yourself, full name, because I know I've called out your first three names, and let us know how long you've been at the Central Animal Hospital.
Sure.
Oh, here, let's make sure it's on. Let's try that.
Hello. Hello.
It might come on in a sec.
Hello.
You take that. Go ahead.
All right. I'm Dr. Sarah Pihowich, and I've been at Central Animal Hospital for about 3 years now.
I'm Dr. Calli Freedman, and I've been at Central
Right up close to your mouth.
about a year and a half now.
And I'm Dr. Nicole Gostkowski. I've been at Central just over a year now.
All right. So that, okay, my mic's not working at this time. Hang on one sec. I'll just give it one more like check. Oh, we got it back. Just keep it really close to your mouth. I know it's so uncomfortable. It seems really weird. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the importance. And you know, one thing I've noticed, the consistency is each organization that has come up here, whether it was the Forgotten Felines, they've all mentioned the same thing about how important spay, and you guys know, the spay and neutering, you know, is so vital because for our community. And by the way, oh my God, I love your shirt. Like, I love what you're wearing. I'm starting to notice this. This is awesome.
We coordinated.
I see that. That is so good. So yeah, so we obviously know what getting spayed or neutered means, but just tell us a little bit about the procedure itself so people have a little bit more understanding.
So a spay procedures for females where we remove the ovaries and the uterus, and a neuter procedures for removing the testicles. And obviously that's to make sure that they're not able to reproduce and have unwanted litters that we don't need.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty, you guys obviously do this a lot. So it's not like something for people to be worried about. They don't want to feel like their animal is in danger. You guys do this obviously daily, correct?
Yeah, very, very routine, yeah.
So a pretty routine, yeah. So obviously when you were told about this event today, what compelled you guys to want to educate about this?
Well, I think that as veterinarians, we all have a big passion for animals and animal health and wanting to help our own community. And so I think that we're all just, we see every day people who may not be able to spay and neuter their pets. And it really is, helps my heart to help provide this for more people in the community.
So, and what would you say, like if someone just said, oh, I don't plan on doing it, I'm just not interested. Like, does that ever happen? Like, do people really tell, what would you guys say to them if they say, I just don't want to do that?
Spoiling the rest of the questions.
I'm just like, whoa. Okay, so, what are the health benefits of spay and neutering? Like, are there actual health benefits for the animals when you do this?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, people might come and say, yeah, that they may not want to do that. And that's maybe because they don't understand what the benefits might be. So spaying and neutering can prevent lots of cancers, so reproductive tumors, uterine cancers, testicular cancers, prevent lots of prostatic disease.
Wow.
Another thing that people I think are maybe less aware of is that older female dogs can get a disease called pyometra. So the more that they go through a heat cycle, the more prone that they are to contracting an infection in their uterus. When they go through a heat cycle and their cervix is open, bacteria can go up in there. And as it closes, then that can cause an infection, resulting in needing an emergency surgery. So really, really recommended, even if your animal is a little bit older, to go ahead and get them spayed, because you can prevent that sort of an infection from happening and resulting in an emergency.
Wow, so there's a lot of benefits other than just stopping a lot of extra animals roaming around. So there's other benefits to it. Wow. Now, what about behaviors? Can behaviors be affected with this?
Definitely. So we're probably aware that animals, especially males, can be less aggressive after they've been neutered. And they're less territorial. They would want to go and fight other animals a lot less. Animals that are spayed and neutered actually have a longer lifespan than those that aren't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was reading, when preparing for today.
Amazing.
Yeah, male cats, they'll actually live about 62% longer than cats that are left intact, because they're just not going around and fighting and getting hit by cars or infectious disease. So
Yeah, I never really thought about that.
Super important.
Wow. Gosh. And what about, how does it really affect the animal population? Like when you look and you see a lot more animals, does it have that much of an impact?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a great question. I think it's a really important question. It's been touched on a little bit today already, but really spay and neuter is the #1 way that we can combat pet overpopulation. Of course, overpopulation is kind of the big picture concept here, because overpopulation is the problem in itself that's leading to overcrowded shelters, leading, unfortunately, to the euthanasia of otherwise healthy animals, and just a big strain on community resources. And this is why I think, programs like TNR that was talked about a little bit today, so Trap, Neuter, Release or Trap, Neuter, Return, has been so popular, because it really is that effective in preventing overpopulation. We have a statistic here from a study that was conducted back in 2003. And at that point, an estimated 4.5 million dogs and cats were killed in shelters every year in the US alone.
I'm going to get you to repeat that.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
4.5
Get right close to my. Say
4.5 million dogs and cats.
Holy.
Yeah, so now I feel like I'm yelling into the microphone, but
no.
yeah, and that's in the US alone. So, since then, the last 2 decades, lots of independent rescues have sprung up trying to improve that statistic, but it's just too much for these small rescues and shelters to handle. According to the SPCA, there's still tens of thousands of domestic animals living outdoors, so unhoused in BC, and these pets are suffering from frostbite, starvation, illness, infectious diseases, predator attacks, other injuries, and the shelters and rescues just can't keep up with that demand for care. So really, spaying and neutering is the best way to, help those animals, in addition to obviously these rescues being able to help provide the veterinary care. I feel like it's kind of hard to grasp the magnitude of the problem. So we'll put it into perspective a little bit here. So obviously spaying and neutering is going to prevent unwanted pregnancies, which is what kind of leads to more pets being out in the environment, more stray animals. So as an example, take a single female cat. She'll have her first heat at about 5 months of age. And then in just 7 years, she and her offspring could produce 450,000 cats if each had an average litter of 3 kittens twice a year. Yeah.
Did you guys hear that? Okay, you gotta give those numbers
Yeah,
again.
so we're
This is-
starting with
This is shocker.
one female cat.
One female cat.
In 7 years could produce an estimate of 450,000 cats in the community.
450,000 cats.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah. Now we know why Bob Barker on The Price is Right is always like, when you finish, like, wasn't he an amazing role model for spay and neutering?
Yeah,
And spay and neutering?
exactly.
He said that well, you guys are so young, you don't remember. You know, the new host, but there was this guy named Bob Barker. Remember? My older people remember, yeah. And every time he would end the show by saying, "Get your pets spayed or neutered." Like that was just a great message, and that's just obviously so important. Some more statistics.
Yeah, so I didn't want to leave the dogs out. So thankfully, dogs are a little bit less proliferative, but even one dog in 7 years, her and her offspring could produce 4,000 dogs.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So I mean, I think that really demonstrates how vital it is to spay and neuter just one animal.
Yes.
So I mean, even the 15 that we've done so far this year, and the additional that are coming up will have a huge impact on the number of pets in the environment.
Wow, this just quick before we hand it over to you to wrap up, but this just reminded me, is Roseanne Nelson there's Roseanne. So Roseanne and I, we were having coffee about this event. She's the brainchild behind this, by the way. And when Roseanne and I were sitting in the coffee shop, before we started talking about the event, we were talking about some sleep problems. And the coffee shop was kind of tight. And there was people sitting there. And I was saying, like, she was saying, like, she just can't get to sleep. She's up really late at night. And I looked at her and then she's not surprised. I said it quite loudly. I said, "Oh my God, we got to get you fixed." And the way I said that, it sounded like that. And people around us were like looking over. I said, "We got to get you fixed." And I was not talking about spay and neutering, but it really sounded like that. It was just fix the other problems. But anyway, are there any other benefits to getting this procedure taken care of?
Yeah, so I mean, Sarah and Calli have obviously talked about the health benefits of spaying and the benefits on the population. What I think we've all seen are some people when they don't want to spay because they think that it's just one pregnancy, so it's easy and fine, but the pregnancy alone does not necessarily always go well. So even if it is just one pregnancy, that doesn't mean it's safe for the dog. Older dogs can get pregnant as well. Dr. Sarah's actually seen one where it was a 12-year-old lab who got impregnated by a young collie, and we were worried that she'd gotten impregnated, and we actually had to do x-rays to confirm because it would have been life-threatening to her. Plus, they can end up needing C-sections. Sometimes the pregnancies don't go well. There is the risk of death of the puppies. But that alone, and with whether or not they need to have an emergency pyometra surgery, there's a lot of cost associated with that, and with raising puppies that spaying eliminates. It's a cost up front, obviously, but in the long run, it does save a fair amount, especially if you consider how expensive puppies are to raise, how expensive a C-section can be when it's an emergency, and the risk that comes to the dog with that as well.
Wow, that is just bizarre. But you know, when you say someone, so you will educate people then when they say, "Oh, I don't want to put my animal through anything." Is that an issue? And do you sort of calm them down? Like once you sort of explain to them about the procedure, are there people that just don't want it for the sake of it? Like they just think, "Oh, I'm not even looking to get more puppies. I just don't want to do it."
Yeah, I think that we have people that do that. I think a lot of it comes down to concern, which is understandable. They love their pets. So a lot of the conversation ends up having to be going through the risk, like we talked about with the health and everything, and chatting the owners through that so that they can feel comfortable with the choice that they're making.
And I would also think too, that how do you find homes for all these puppies too? Like if they're keeps or puppies and kittens and they keep eating more, how do you find all these houses and people to take them in, right? And I guess that's another big problem. Oh my gosh.
I think like in the height of COVID, there was a high demand for puppies.
Yes.
And so I think a lot of people maybe got the idea that it could be maybe a lucrative business.
Oh.
And we're just not seeing that anymore. And so since people have started going back to work and aren't now home to take care of a puppy, the demand has dropped quite significantly. And that is a huge contributor to puppies looking for homes right now.
Wow. You guys do such amazing work, and even over at the Central Animal Hospital, like I say, that was, I mean, I love all the vets, obviously all the vets at Kamloops, but you guys were where I took my dog. And, I just want to say too, and at the end, you know, what you guys do is so incredible. It's one of the hardest things to bring your animal in at the end, but oh my gosh, that was the most warm, loving comfort I felt like once that was happening. And it's all to the wonderful work that you guys do at the Central Animal Hospital. I think it's just absolutely fantastic. Are there any last messaging here that you might have had some notes that weren't touched upon? Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I think we just touching on your other note of some barriers to people spaying and neutering their pets. Cost is definitely one that is affecting everybody, especially in an economy where cost of everything is going up, including veterinary medicine. We heard from some other people tonight about how much that they've put into the animals that they're caring for. And so that's why it's just so important that we support causes like this. And yeah, we're all just, I think, really proud to be a part of it.
Wow. Well, we are so grateful for the information, the education, and what you guys do. I want to thank you guys so much. You know, like Bob Barker says, spay and neuter your animals. You got to get that taken care of. Roseanne, you need to be fixed. Got to get everybody fixed out there. Yeah, so thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. From the Central Animal Hospital. You guys are awesome. Thank you. All right, so where are we at now? Okay, Nikki, I think we are at that moment where we're going to invite all the presenters and volunteers on stage. So if you're a volunteer today, well, yeah, the vets will come back. Get you guys back up here. And also, I just want to quickly mention, any of those silent auction items, when you see a business that has donated, that means that business is very generous. That means they have put forth their item as a donation to Four Paws for you guys. So if you see a business name and maybe you see them out in the community or you want to support their business, remember to give them a lot of thanks. And I know Richmond Steel is another organization that has been a big donor for today. So I know Nikki will touch on that, but it's really important. Anytime you go somewhere and there's a sponsor or a donor, it's all really, really important. And let's hear it for these guys today who'll be looking out to the stage. It's awesome. So, Nikki, I will hand things over to you, Nikki Lucier. Come forward under the lights, you guys. You're in the dark. Come under the lights here so Peter can see you on camera. There you go. Awesome. Look at everybody. And if there's anyone else that has volunteered, Roseanne, get over here.
Hey, what are you doing, Roseanne?
Yeah, come on over here. Okay, and Nikki Lucier from Four Paws, everybody.
Here, this one's working really well. Put your mouth right on it.
Okay, there we go. So this day would not have been what it was without Tara here to help us through. So a big, big hand. As big as you Yeah, there's just, you've got a natural interview style about you. I think we should consider,
You mean I'm a nosy broad? It's okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share some exciting news that we have. So today we were competing with spring break, we were competing with beautiful weather. There was a lot of plans people had. So although we don't have big numbers here in the crowd, we had a lot of people e-transferring in funds, messaging in, sending in money. People popped in today with money. Our auction went well. And we had an absolutely amazing donation that happened. Ooh. And this donation has taken us halfway to our goal.
Wow.
So although it's really, there's quite a range. So, whether you're neutering a kitten or you're spaying, one of the more complicated situations that we heard about, there's quite a range in price, so it's a little bit hard for us to say exactly what 100 spays and neuters is going to cost. But we have a ballpark, so we have a ballpark we're working with, and with a very generous donation that came in today from the Paws Food Foundation, and we're just kind of blown away. So that goes directly back into the community. So a big thank you.
Are you going to say the amount?
$25,000. That's from the Paws Food Foundation.
Wow.
And Steve Paws Food is here, so thank you.
Where? Thank you.
And so, you know, when we walked in the doors today, thanks to Richmond Steel, we had already broken even. So they made sure that all our expenses were taken care of and that immediately the funds that we raised here today would go 100% towards spay and neuter. And so we're still tallying up the silent auction out there and what came in through donations. So we don't have the exact amount, but thanks to Steve and family, we are well on our way for spay and neutering.
That's awesome.
So, I think we do need to do this again. This was amazing to pull this together. Again, everyone here on stage just said yes and made this happen. It's been a great pleasure. And I also think that everyone who did make time to come here today, we can clap for you. So thank you. The silent auction has closed, so please settle up, grab your items, take them with you. We will be sharing out, of course, the total amount that we pulled in today for spay and neuter.
And we will look forward to seeing Peter Cameron Inglis from Mastermind Studios. I understand you're going there tomorrow and he'll do some editing. And
Yeah, so it was kind of amazing timing. Peter got in touch and wanted to talk a bit more about the work that Paws was doing in the community as part of his Crisis Storm podcast and YouTube channel. And so I mentioned that this event was happening, and immediately he asked if they could come and film, and it's really incredible to have this opportunity, especially for the number of people that weren't able to be here with us today. Now there's a chance to share it out. I think more importantly, this means that Peter's episode will feature all of us. So it's about our collective story, because that's really what's happening, right? It's not just one group, it's not just one person, it's a massive, massive effort. And I think everyone needs to be aware of that. So thank you, Peter. Thank you, AJ, for being here today.
yeah, thank you guys. And let's give the biggest applause to this lady right here, Nikki Lucier, the chair of the awesome work that you do. I have learned so much today that I did not know. So yeah, and that's the best way of interviewing people, is because it's just knowledge exchange. You learn more and then you can share more. So that's great. And I found out that I can keep talking baby talk to any animal that I want. So that was the best thing that came out of today. So thank you all so much and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks again for coming out.
Thank you.